The title of this section is Quantum Physics, the Key to Creating Your Future. What does quantum physics have to do with creating your future? I can tell you that it has everything to do with it. Let's take a look at a simplified explanation of quantum physics and find out how we can use it to create our life by design instead of by default. Quantum physics is a science that explains how everything in our world comes into existence. You are the creator of your entire physical world, but up until now you may not have been aware of this fact. Your lack of awareness of how physical matter comes into your life and your part in creating it makes it appear to you that circumstances in your life are often out of your control. It also makes it appear that you're the victim of these circumstances, while all along you're actually the cause of those circumstances. This includes both the good stuff and the bad stuff. A brief study of quantum physics will help you not only to understand how everything is created into your reality, but also exactly how your beliefs and thought processes create the results that you experience in your life. Spiritual teachings have told us that even before you ask, it is given unto you. Quantum physics has now proven that this is scientifically true, and as you will see, ask and ye shall receive is how the universe works. Think about it. When someone tells you that anything is possible if you only believe, have you ever wondered, that all sounds great, but what proof is there that this is really true? Aren't you more likely to believe that it's true if someone showed you step by step and scientifically how your beliefs shift the universe and produce what you believe in? One of the benefits of understanding the basics of quantum physics is that you can finally see clearly how your thoughts, ideas, and beliefs control the outcome of your life. This understanding and knowing enables you to eliminate all doubt and to have 100% confidence in your power to consciously create whatever you want. Quantum physics also shows you how we're all connected and how we're all one. It eliminates the illusion that we're all separate beings. It also gives you a glimpse of how spirit, mind, and matter interact and connect, and how creation actually happens. It shows us exactly how we are co-creators with God or source energy. Once you fully understand what we're about to discuss, you will be amazed at how much power that you have and how easy it is to create any outcome that you desire. Okay, let's get into it. Quantum physics is the study of the building blocks of the universe. Your body is made up of cells. These cells are made up of molecules, which are made up of atoms, which are in turn made up of subatomic particles such as electrons. The study of quantum physics has proven that everything is made up of large groups of subatomic particles. Your body, your car, plants, trees, thoughts, light, everything else, including the entire universe, are concentrations or large groups of energy or subatomic particles. The only difference is in the way these particles are grouped together into building blocks. Knowing how they work is the key to creating your life by design. Subatomic particles are not physical objects. They're not a particle in the same way that a grain of sand is a particle. They're actually probabilities of existence, and at the same time, multiple existences. You'll soon see what all this means, so just hang in there. Don't let all the terminology confuse you. For now, let's just continue our journey into the study of how we can apply this in our life. The subatomic particles are energy packets that are sometimes called quanta. Everything in this universe is made up of energy, and these energy packets behave in the most amazing way. They are at our command. The reason they appear to us as a certain solid thing or object and arrange themselves into an automobile or a table, for example, is due to our individual and collective thoughts. Since we can reduce everything in existence down to subatomic particles, we need to know what they're made of, since they are the building blocks of everything that has been created and everything that ever will be created. So, what are these subatomic particles made of? If you said energy, that's not quite correct. They are not made of energy, they are energy. If you reduced your body to its pure essence, you would discover that you're just one big chunk of energy. And so is everything else. Spirit and mind shape this energy into the physical form that you call your body. Okay, so everything consists of subatomic energy. These subatomic particles are what make up atoms and finally turn into matter. This energy exists as waves spread out over time and space. However, and this is important, only when you exercise the power of observation do these waves become localized particles at a particular time and place. And as soon as you withdraw your observation, they become a wave again. Now, what does this mean? Simply put, your observation, your attention, and your intention to create something takes this energy from the unformed state and literally creates it as a space-time event. This is a scientific fact. No solid object is solid. It's made up of billions of rapidly flashing packets of energy. They flash in and they flash out of space where the object is located. They do not just stay there. So why does your body or your car look like a solid continuous object when we know that it's actually a rapid flashing field of energy? The best way to describe this is to think of a movie. When you watch a movie, you see a person walking across the screen. Yet if you could slow the movie down, what's really happening is that in reality, it's just a film with 24 slightly different frames per second going at a certain speed so that our eyes cannot detect the gap between the separate frames. Each one of those frames is a composite of billions of light photons flashing at the speed of light. That is what creates your reality. So what you see around you is nothing more than a rapid flash that causes an illusion, just like the frames of the movie, that something is solid and continuous. Life is analogous to a movie. In a movie, the frames are moving so fast that you can't see them. The speed of those frames make it look as if those people on the screen are solid, real, and continuous. But both you and I know that they're not. Often when we watch a movie, we become so involved in the action that it looks real, as if we were watching real events taking place. Why else would people jump at scary scenes, or cry at emotional scenes, or laugh at funny scenes? It's because what they see on the screen appears real to them. However, what we see in the movies or in real life is nothing more than energy rearranging itself to appear solid. Only when we observe it and focus on it does it appear as a solid and continuous object. Every single physicist knows that subatomic particles, those energy packets or quanta, are not particles at a particular point in space and time, such as a table or a chair is, but they are probabilities that can exist at various points in space and time. The act of our observing them converts them into a physical particle at a particular point in space and time. But once we withdraw our attention, they become a probability again. I want to repeat that because it's so important. The act of our observing anything converts it into a physical particle at a particular point in space and time. But once we withdraw our attention, it becomes a probability again. In other words, it doesn't exist unless we are observing it. Imagine the chair that you're sitting in right now is one big cluster of subatomic particles. Here's what's really happening to that chair. When you are not in that room and not thinking about your chair, it vanishes. It becomes a probability that reappears right where you are or anywhere else in the universe. When you come back home and you think of sitting on a chair in a particular spot, or you look for a chair in that spot where you wish to sit, it magically reappears. Now, I'm not making this up. I know that this is difficult to believe because the chair seems so real. And it is real, as long as you or anyone else thinks about it or observes it. Quantum physics has proven this to be true. I'm a magician. It's been my hobby for many years. So I know how to make things appear and disappear. And I can tell you that this is not an illusion or a parlor trick. It's just the way the universe works. It's the nature of subatomic particles. That's the way they behave. All matter acts exactly as a large group of subatomic particles. A chair's being there is the result of watching it being there and deciding that it's there. In other words, nothing solid can exist. It has no existence independent of the observer. So the act of observation makes the probability of existence become a definite actual thing. Continuous attention keeps it that way, producing the illusion of a solid continuous existence. Now that's a mouthful, so I will repeat it again. Nothing solid can exist. It has no existence independent of the observer. So the act of observation makes the probability of existence become a definite actual thing. Our continuous attention keeps it that way, producing the illusion of a solid continuous existence. I know your head probably wants to explode right now, but just hang in there. Now here's where it gets really interesting. It's also been discovered that these quantum particles make decisions. They're actually powered by intelligence. So what is the intelligence that powers them? This intelligence is the universal creative mind. The universal creative mind is made up of your own individual mind and also the individual minds of the rest of the universe. Quantum packets or particles are best defined as probabilities of existence. The physical world is literally made up of ideas and energy. Think about this carefully. Think about the fact that everything your eye can see is made up of these amazing particles, which are under your control. Think about the scientific facts that now prove that you are the cause or co-cause of everything around you. That nothing you observe can exist without your observation. Now, here's what you need to pay attention to. All you need to do is to choose whatever you desire, focus on it with certainty and consistency, and this will cause the energy packets to materialize into whatever you desire. In other words, what you focus on and give your attention to becomes your reality. If this is true, and I can assure you that it is, please consider this. If you change the way you look at things, the things you look at will change. I'm going to repeat that because it's so important. If you change the way you look at things, the things you look at will change. So what we have learned so far is that at the tiniest subatomic level, the actual act of observing a particle changes the particle. That the way we observe things creates the building blocks of life. And ultimately, this determines the outcome of our life. What this means is that everything in your life is the result of what you've been focusing on and paying attention to. Your point of focus causes those subatomic particles to manifest as people, places, and experiences in your life. What you focus on and believe is a command for the universe to bring it to you. Source energy, the universal creative mind, is limitless. It has no limitations. And since you're one with this creative mind, the possibilities for you are also limitless. However, you are the one that creates the limitations. For example, if you say something like, "Please send me more money because I need to pay my bills," the message you're sending out is, "I am in a state of not having money." However, the universal creative mind doesn't know what not having enough money means. It has to respond to your thoughts. It has no other choice. So it processes your dominant thought of not having enough money. So in essence, it responds to your thought by creating more of not enough money. This is what you've attracted. Now, if your financial situation gets worse, you start to think, this is a lot of nonsense. I've asked for more money, but my request for more money is being denied. Instead, things keep getting worse. But the truth is, the universal creative mind is only responding to your dominant thought or belief. Let's go back to quantum physics. Your thoughts are energy. They are a concentration of vibrating particles. When you think a thought, you're creating a specific focus of particles in your mind. Those particles appear as images, and those images manifest as objects in your physical world. This process is called manifesting. In other words, what you think about becomes real. What I want you to get is that our minds have the capacity to literally think things into existence. We're thinking things into existence all the time. We cannot not think things into existence. And when we do think things into existence, the quantum energy packets we talked about earlier appear in the form of money, relationships, our health, and so on. Let's go back to our example. Here's what's happening. When you have a thought such as, "I'm broke," that thought creates an energy packet in the form of being broke, and it will manifest in your life as a lack of money. The good news is that you can change this at any time. When you change your thoughts, you are literally changing the energy packets that appear in your life. However, you must take this a step further. In order to change those energy packets that are creating what's happening in your life, you must only focus on what you desire and not send out conflicting thoughts. This only causes confusion, and what you will attract is more confusion. Also, you must act as if you already have what you desire. You actually do have it as an unformed probability of existence, an unformed energy packet. Your job is to convert it from an unformed energy packet, a probability, into your physical world as an actual physical object or event. The universe always responds to your thoughts. The secret is that you must allow whatever it is that you desire to come into your life. The operative word here is allow. Let's take a look at how most people do not allow what they desire to come into their lives, and thus fail at their attempts to have what they truly desire. The universal creative mind is in a constant state of supplying everything that we can possibly imagine. It is perpetually there to take orders and supply you with exactly what you've asked for. If this is true, why are some people able to partake of it while others struggle to have what they want, even the basic things in life? The answer is, anytime we experience the lack of anything, we are not allowing it to flow into our life. Instead, we are consciously or unconsciously setting up resistance. The universe is based on the laws of energy and attraction. This attraction is based on everything vibrating at a particular frequency. What this means is, in order to create what you desire, you must also be vibrating at a frequency that's in harmony with what you desire in order to receive it. These vibrations are produced by your thoughts and feelings. And these thoughts and feelings are the keys to allowing what you desire to come into your life. Thoughts that emphasize lack, limitation, fear, doubt, worry, depression, scarcity, or unworthiness set up a contradiction in energy. This contradicting energy creates an energy field of non-allowing or blocking. In essence, you are not in harmony with your desires. Remember, you are part of the universal creative mind. The universal creative mind has no choice but to act upon your dominant thoughts. It can only act upon those thoughts that have no vibrational contradiction to your desire. Now, don't get overwhelmed by all of this. The reason I've gone into such detail is so that you have scientific proof of what is actually happening on both the non-physical and physical dimension. If you are in a place where you feel stuck or cannot create what you want, then consider this. Quantum science has now proven that we are much greater than we realized. In fact, we are all connected to this one universal mind, this one energy field. What this means is, regardless of your circumstances, you have more power than you can imagine. So it's time to stop worrying about your ability to create whatever it is that you desire. Why? Because you already have it. You already have whatever you desire beyond your wildest dreams. Granted, you may not be experiencing it right now, but you already have it at the quantum level as an unformed probability that already exists. Let me give you a short review of how this works, because I really want you to get it. This is why I'm spending so much time on this. Everything that you want is already a probability of existence waiting for you to acknowledge it and focus your attention on it. Another way of explaining this is to think of a video game. When you play an action video game, all the probable outcomes are already programmed on the CD or DVD disc. When you play the game, you focus your attention on what you want to happen, or the outcome. As you do this, your focus of attention, the result that you want, selects one of the probable outcomes already programmed on the CD or DVD, and that's the result you get. In an action video game, you can have many different outcomes to the same situation. But regardless of the end result, it was already a probable outcome programmed on the disc. You were the one who determined the outcome by selecting from the probabilities that were already placed on the program. Now, the same thing happens in our lives. The quantum field can create an infinite number of experiences. What you are thinking in this moment or the next determines your actual experience from the probable outcomes. Our lives are about focusing our thoughts to select the outcome that we desire. The universe can provide that or even a better outcome. What is important to understand is that all of this is happening without you having to worry exactly how it will turn out. All you need to do is to desire, intend, and know that whatever you want already exists, and through the power of focus, focusing your attention on what you desire, it will manifest in your life with absolute certainty. You can bring anything into existence through your expectation, certainty, faith, and your intention to have it without forcing it, stressing out, or worrying about whether you can have it or not. In reality, what you desire already exists as a probability wave, but you cause that probability wave to be a definite thing, event, or a point in space and time. And here's something else to consider. What you want already exists as an event, but your perception of time makes it look as though you don't have it yet and that you're separate from it. Once you understand what time is and how it works, which we'll discuss later, you'll be able to bring what you want into your experience faster and in larger amounts. The quantum world is the real world. What you see in your physical world with your five senses is what you've created through your perception of a group of quantum activity. Yet the quantum activity is caused by you. You are the cause. Never think that what you see or experience in your life is the cause of anything. It's just an effect. All matter and all experiences are put together from input from your mind and the minds of those around you and the rest of the universe. You, I, and everything else are just energy arranged together by information from our individual mind and from the universal creative mind. The whole point of this is for you to know that you are part of one huge ocean of energy, and that nothing separates you from anything else. The only separation that you see is an illusion caused by your limited five senses. Quite literally, we are all one. Anything you do, any thought that you have, changes the composition of the whole universe, however small that change is. Because you are part of that universe, the ripple effect of your thought comes back to you and gives you back a dose of what you sent out. You cause a change in the energy field around you, and it ripples, touching everything. And everything ripples back in reaction, sending it back to you, all multiplied. That is how scientifically the law of cause and effect works. The betterment of one individual in the system causes the betterment of the whole system. And the betterment of the whole system causes betterment of the individual. And the reverse is also true. Now, I'm no expert on quantum physics, but I think our brief introduction into the stuff that we are made of will convince you that you have more power available to you than you ever imagined. Don't worry if some of this doesn't make sense. It will make sense later as we continue with the study of the power of deliberate creation. You don't need to master quantum physics to experience the benefits. The point of this discussion is to simply show you what your world is really made of, and to begin to show you that you are in direct control of it. The rest of this program will show you how to exercise that control and to interpret the feedback that it gives you.